Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do and give my video a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. So today I'm just going to give a brief update on some new information that's come out. First up, as you can see, the house has been boarded up. I have a few more pictures to show you. And then secondly, I'm going to delve a little bit into the Ashleigh Banfield news that she had out and how it could relate to that 4chan photo that you guys may or may not remember that was floated around real early in the case. You can see it in the bottom right. I'm going to enlarge it for you and show you. Could that have been one of the photos that he had and teased people by posting that on 4chan? I'm going to show you a photo of the girls at the food truck that night and how this photo was posted at 3:10 a.m. It's crazy. So you're going to see the resemblance in the hair is identical and the timing of the photo on 4chan along with the other weird posts that were going on. Remember, somebody really thought he knew what happened and was posting a lot of information that nobody else apparently had at the time, and a lot of it came out to be true. I'm wondering if this was a breadcrumb. So I'm going to show you that photo and the photos of the house. Let me know what you think. Here in just a minute, I'm going to play the Ashleigh Banfield interview so that you get a context of what I'm talking about with the photo that was posted on 4chan. It's very interesting that this was a photo taken into the house. So keep that in mind. And let me see here. Let me get that pulled up, the other photos. All right, here is the house now. It is so sad to see, isn't it? It's all boarded up on the front and back and the side. These are photos from the front and from the back. I have another one from the front that I'll show you in just a moment here. Let me get that pulled up. Oh, and the photo, the big photo I got from Reddit, this one on the side that has the time and stuff on the top, that was sent to me by Mallory. And then the photos coming up I also got from Reddit. So thank you, Mallory, for the back photo. I appreciate it. All right, here's the other photo from the front that I got from Reddit and the one that Mallory sent me on the right. Now I'm going to go ahead and play Ashleigh Banfield's interview. I typically try to stay away from that because a lot of her stuff, unfortunately, has unverified sources. I'm only playing it today to give you context for what comes after the interview, and that's the part about the story that Brian had photos of one of the victims on his phone. So that ties in, I believe, with the 4chan possibly. So I'm just going to show you that real quick. Again, tell me what you think.
Got some breaking news to report to you regarding the Idaho murder case. The four murdered students in Idaho, Bryan Kohberger in jail awaiting the next hearing in June, a gag order making it very difficult to sort of put the pieces together in this very strange mystery. But we are learning something tonight about Bryan Kohberger and his predilections. On his phone, according to People magazine and News Nation's reporting as well, on Bryan Kohberger's phone, numerous pictures of one of the victims. I had a chance to talk with Steve Helling, who's investigative reporter with People magazine, about some of the findings regarding that piece of information, the fact that Kohberger's phone had loads of pictures of one of the victims. This is our conversation earlier.
So, somebody who's very familiar with the investigation says that after they arrested Brian Koberger, they took his phone, which of course is what you'd expect. And now that they've been looking at his phone, they have all of his communications. They have all of the things that you would have on your phone. And one of the things that they looked at were the pictures. And there are pictures of at least one of the victims in his photo roll. We don't know the details of those pictures. We don't know whether they were pictures he took from a distance. We don't know if they're pictures he downloaded from her social media, but he had pictures of one of the female victims on his phone.
And is anyone pointing to which one of the three female victims might be the one who's on his phone?
I mean, we all have our suspicions, and of course the cops certainly know, but that's not something that they're telling, there's a gag order in place. They can't tell us all these details. But yes, it was one of the three female victims, and cops sure know who they are. You and I could guess all day, and we'd probably guess correctly, but we don't have that officially.
And of course, without even being able to name them, it's hard to push further to suggest, is that person potentially the target of all of this? Like, was there one person who was the target and maybe the other three ended up as collateral? Are they saying anything about that?
Well, before the second gag order came along, we were getting, you were getting it, I was getting it, we were getting these tips. And, I think that they had a pretty good idea, even back then, a month ago, of who the primary target was. Whether or not these pictures are of that person, who you and I both pretty much know, remains to be seen.
So what else did they get, or are you able to find out about from, combing his photo rolls? Was there any other clue in there?
No, but it certainly seems as though he was, he was very aware of what was going on in this house. We know that. Obviously, besides the photos, we already know that his phone just kept pinging from that area. So, he'd been there several times. So I think the phone is going to be a real treasure trove of information for the investigators, not just from the pictures, not just from, we don't know the texts he sent. We do know, as we talked about a few weeks ago, that he had reached out to one of the girls on Instagram. So, there's going to be a lot of tracks there that they can look at, and, tracks that I don't think that he covered.
There's one line in your exclusive where your source says it looked as though Koberger was certainly, quote, paying attention to her. Were you able to read into that any further?
I think paying attention means something more than just, noticing somebody. Paying attention means that you are, purposefully and very deliberately, keeping track of somebody, keeping track of who they are, what they're doing, that type of thing. So there was somebody who was on his radar for a while. And that person, that girl, was unfortunately one of the victims.
All this time we've been trying to figure out the nexus between, this alleged killer and these victims. And the only connection that so far can really be made is the fact that he's a vegan. Mm-hmm. And Xana and Maddie both worked at the Mad Greek, which is one of the best vegan, restaurants in that area of both Pullman and Moscow. So from what I've heard from my sources in Pullman, if you're a vegan in Pullman, you have been to the Mad Greek many times. Mm-hmm. It is one of your go-to places. Do we know if there's any connection to the two victims who worked at the Mad Greek, Xana and Maddie, and this photograph?
Sure. Well, what I would say is that, we reported about a month ago that he had been to the Mad Greek, and then the Mad Greek came out with a statement that basically said, somebody is trying to cash in on 15 minutes of fame, I think referring to the former employee who had given that information up, but they never, ever denied for sure that he was there. They just said somebody is trying to cash in on some fame here. So, I think that we can pretty much surmise that, the restaurant, the phone, all of this type of stuff is something that police have looked into very, very carefully to make sure that they understand kind of the timeline of how did these girls, or at least how did one of these girls, get onto Brian Koberger's radar. and he did somehow, or she did somehow he found her and targeted her allegedly. And so that was really, what the cops are looking at right now.
And then just one more clarity on your exclusive, and it's pictures plural, right? It's not just one picture. He had pictures plural of at least one victim.
Right. Then that could be 2. That could be 450. We don't know. We just know it's more than one. You can have a picture of somebody on your phone and not be fixated on that person, but more than one certainly means that, whether or not he took more than one, I'm the worst. When I take pictures of my food, I take 4 pictures of it. So, it could have been something like that, or it could be that he downloaded things from her Instagram or screenshotted things from her Instagram. So
yeah, that's the other thing, right? Because we don't know if it's downloaded or if they were actually snapped on his phone. There's no way to tell between that. Well, at least they're not telling us. They would know.
They're not telling us, but they certainly know, because every picture you take, it tells, you can figure out exactly where a picture was taken, when it was taken, all of that. And people who know a lot more about computers than I do can figure that out. So you better believe that the cops are doing that.
All right, so is this one of the photos? Do you guys remember this photo on the left? Going around very, very, very early in the case. It was posted on 4chan. I enlarged the top of it where it says Moscow, November 13th, 3:10 a.m. On the right, there's a photo of the girls at the food truck. The photo on the left looks like who? See the wavy hair? Very much looks identical to the way her hair was that night. I'm wondering if this wasn't a real photo, an actual legit photo through the bedroom window or something. I don't know. But it gives me new shivers. I remember everybody talking about this photo when it first came out. And now that we're hearing a story that he had photos of one of the girls, I don't know if Ashleigh Banfield's source is legit or not, but it does give me enough pause to go back and look at this photo again. So again, look at the hair over her left shoulder in both of the photos. Sure does look like her to me. Maybe there was a peeping Tom thing going on right before he went in. I don't know, because this does fit the time frame from when he was around there. If you look at the local time, just tell me what you think. I don't know for sure, of course, but it is interesting that this photo went around so early. And I do know that some creators actually took photos from inside the house and compared the doorknobs and the hardware and things like that, and the wall color, the trim, everything matched the inside of that house. So I don't know, but this might possibly allegedly be one of the photos that Brian had on his phone. Just tell me what you think. Do you agree? Do you not? What do you think about the house being boarded up again? Or not again, sorry, being boarded up. It had the fence around it for a little while, and then now it's completely boarded up. I do notice that there is still security posted there, but it's completely boarded up. It looks so sad. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Thank you. I will see you later.